we scored cooking waves. Sun was out, 3-2 every day. Yeah, we're back. It's the Insiders. Thanks for joining us again. It's myself, Matt. Darren's rocking the naughtiest looking mustache. Now he's back in France. And we are going to be chatting mainly about new boards we've been surfing, trips we've been on, because we've had a couple of mad ones, and just our experiences. But we've got a bit of miscellaneous news as well that we want to tick off. But let's crack in. Daz, how are you?
I'm good. I want you to tonight, for example, or maybe I don't think "for example" is the right word, but for tonight, you call me Broady.
Broady, done.
Yeah, because I just got back from a 6-week Oz trip, and I grew up, and everyone only ever called me Broady.
Yeah,
Like some people that didn't know me from, people that didn't Aussie style, people that don't know you from school, they actually think that's your first name, or they just don't know your name.
yeah,
Now, I had a best mate whose nickname was Anus,
yeah.
and I've rung him up at his mum's place, and I just didn't know what to say because I didn't know his name was what it was, and I said, I was like, "Excuse me, but I need to speak to your son." And she was going, "Which one?" And I was going, I'm pretty sure I said Anus. At the end, I said, "I'm really sorry," and stuff like that. Huh? And I remember another one who was Mince.
Yeah,
Mince. And I've rung up. That was a bit easy. And I just said, "Oh, is Mince there?"
that's like at work we got a guy that I only ever called Chef for ages.
Oh, the
And
chef. I met him.
yeah, you met him, and then we got a call and someone was like, "Is Tom there?" And I was like, "There's no one here no one works here called Tom," and like hung up. And actually, that's his name. Chef is Tom. So,
There you
yeah.
go. Hey, how's your 23 dry 23 going?
Strong. I
Strong. Had any drinks?
I had one to commemorate the trip that I've just been on, which I'll go into a bit more detail on. Um, it got bought for me, and the person didn't know, and I didn't want to be rude, so I had a pint. But yeah,
I did a midweek dry Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, but just to counteract your good efforts, I thought I'd just have a, a sly absinthe with water, a Ricard with water,
that's
because I'm pretty
madness.
thirsty. It's not that strong, and that's it. I'm just having that little tiny thing, but you drink it with water, so it's I don't know if it's an old man's
That's cool.
drink, but it's pretty epic, the absinthe, especially in summer, like with ice.
Mm.
Woohoo. Got to be careful because it's
It's
you can't
naughty. It's naughty water from the 1980s. That's it.
don't 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 burn the candle.
Yeah. No, it's good
And
though. It's good to take a little bit of the edge off sometimes. It was
oh,
just, I tell you what,
I'm
without,
just thirsty, man. I'm just thirsty. I had a pretty busy afternoon, mowed the lawn, been down trying to open up my coffee shop, doing this and that, and in between wrangled a pretty sick session on a 4 to 6 foot left incoming tide. And I checked it with ex-contest director Alan Ryu, hashtag Tahitian white kid. And the tide wasn't on it yet. And he's like, "Oh, no, I'm not going to go." I was like, "Man, you got to go." And he didn't go, and it ended up only being 4 or 5 of us. The
sick.
day before, I surfed the same bank with Jay Phipps and the French junior team. That was
Yeah.
quite funny. But
That,
luckily, because I know Jay and he yells out to me and starts talking to you, the others kind of stay away from you.
yeah.
But
They've been dropping some clips that have been little bangers.
I'll have a look. But imagine this: we're mid-March, and it's nothing new to surfers of the world. I pulled up at Bourdain's the other day in front of Bourdain's there in front of Le Bourdain, in front of
Yeah.
Phips's, which used to be like Aussie Beach. We called it at one stage, and it's mid-March. It's not spring yet. There was 60, 70 people
Oh,
on
wow.
one peak. car park full. It was like packed.
That's crazy.
Alan, the same Alan, he said that because I went there, must have been after him. He walked away and said he's never surfing again.
That's mental. That's a lot of people because we was like so. I've just
I
come.
surfed today with two of us.
Yeah.
So come on, it's just being not being a sheep
Nah.
and being
Yeah.
consistent.
Especially down there, just walk 10 minutes up the beach and you'll be on an empty one. Hey, quickly back to when you asked
You
about
won't be on an empty one, but you won't have to be with 60 people.
well, yeah. Just quickly back to my thing where you said about doing the dry January or not, no, the dry year and stuff. I'll tell you what it did do. So obviously I hadn't had a drink since the start of the year and I had one pint and that pint tasted incredible
There
because
you go.
I hadn't had like I mean I'm not a big drinker anyway, but I hadn't had
You
loads and
know,
it tasted real good.
and you had a full buzz.
Yeah, Logan Nickel bought it for me, which was
Good on you, Logan.
good on your Logs.
You
So
knocked him off the wagon.
so before we dive into our trips, yeah, sent me spiraling. You were saying you got a couple of bits you want to just chat about before we dive into the good stuff.
So I know we talked about the Portugal comp in our last little podcast.
Mm,
After that, I did a quick kind of sneaky twist through a few of the heat analyzers because I didn't see it all. I forget what I was doing at the time, but I was watching a bit. And obviously, I think the best two guys made it to the final.
yeah.
But I just wanted to make a special mention to how many barrels Jack Robbo got that day. Now, Jo got good ones and got a whole bunch of waves and got him in the final too. But Jack Robbo was looking like what Kelly used to do like
Mm,
20 years ago.
yeah.
Like just barrels on tap.
I remember watching it thinking it was more like it was like as if like it wasn't like he was finding the waves, it was like the waves were finding him.
Yeah,
It
that's what people tend to think. And it's easy to
but
think that. Like I heard someone call him the water bender and stuff like that, but it's them finding the waves, man. It's
yeah,
just reading the ocean, being there, and also being lucky. Like a lot of times as well, when you're watching it, people just wouldn't go on the waves and you'd think that's not a good wave.
mm,
But when you see that, like him or Kelly or Andy, like, I saw Andy surf Hossegor a couple of times where people wouldn't have surfed and he's gone out there and got waves that
yeah.
it's just because they're just the next caliber up. And
What
Jack Robbo is.
yeah, I agree. And I thought I just talking about Jack Robbo, not just with Portugal, but I love how he is so himself. He's not
Yeah.
he's not dragged into this. I've got to be this traditional Australian. He's not dragged into. I've got
He doesn't drink.
doesn't drink. I watched the
Yoga, meditation.
yeah, I watched the G Land make or break thing, and everyone's having a hell party, and it looked incredible. The party looked sick, but Jack sat there having dinner the other side of the island, quiet, does his own thing. Um, he's but he's just him. Like
And who won?
yeah, exactly. He won the event. And also, though, it doesn't come across as forced or contrived. It seems like it's exactly what he wants to be doing anyway. And I think that's super cool.
I think that's that generation. Like I saw it with Leo, who here was never any sort of party kid or drinker or anyway. And I remember seeing some of the young Aussies come over when they were that full little Quicksilver nucleus. And there was, what's his name? Parko's cousin, Mitch, I think.
Mitch Colborne.
And yeah. No, Mitch Parkinson.
Oh, Mitch
And,
Parkinson, yeah.
and he and him and a couple of, all the young Aussies, they all give it a nudge with the beers and stuff. And they weren't even 18 yet. And I just think maybe Jack as well, Perth, West Australia, going up a lot of those places, it's a really, really traditional Australian area where a lot of the guys would be maybe not hard drinkers, but drinkers. And I think maybe some people like him and even that generation, like my nephew who's swimming hard and wants to go to the Olympics and everything, they just look at all the mistakes that my generation and just after me made, and I think they just want to steer clear of it.
Yeah. I mean, it is a bit of a weird one. Like, or it's not weird. It's just, I think it's each to their own and stuff. But like it is a generational thing. But then it's also a decision and a choice, and it's a sacrifice. That you look at some of the things that people give up and sacrifice in all walks of life, and you think alcohol and parties and stuff. It's like I don't know.
They don't seem to give it up in rugby.
Nah.
Or I reckon maybe soccer they would, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Soccer they're not allowed, are they?
They're not really allowed. Plus also especially with football, it's literally like the type of thing where there's so many people who want to become a professional footballer that it like 1% things like your fitness and your attitude.
0.1.
Yeah. Cricket, some people still get away with it a bit. They still like and stuff, but that's becoming much more professional as a sport. But like, I mean, golf and stuff, but some people are famously better when they're more relaxed, and some people aren't as well. So,
well, on that note, let's not get lost. The whole thing that I wanted to say with that thing with Jack is what I think is like exceptional is now imagine like he's leading. Imagine he wins. Imagine Chopu's 12-foot the final day. It might not be like it's it's all our dreams, and there's a good chance it won't happen. But just say it's 12-foot. Jack's leading yellow jersey. Yeah. Chopu's 12-foot, and he just puts on a clinic with John. Like, there'll be a few of them putting on a clinic. There'll be him, there'll be John, Gabrielle.
Yeah.
The other guys might step it up, but like you wouldn't put money on anyone apart from them three, apart from maybe Kelly. And even Kelly, I wouldn't put money on him against John or Jack or Gabrielle anymore. So Jack comes out of that comp, still leading, nails it, clinic. Felipe gets knocked out in elimination round or round 3. Scraps into Trestles in 5th place. Chuck, I still wouldn't. He still most probably won't win the world title.
There's a high chance, but then watching Jack this year, like I know that he might not be the best in those races, but his mindset.
Yeah, no, he's got a chance.
His mindset, and like rewatching last year's and stuff against Italo, he had the ocean went a bit wonky on him. I reckon if he's got a best of 3, if he goes,
I reckon they need to have 2 final days.
I think they should keep it up their sleeve for sure. Shouldn't
they have like a second, one in performance and one in heavy water?
Oh well, I mean, yeah, I thought. Sorry, I thought you meant as in like, so if they start, they don't have to finish that exact day. Like if the conditions are getting worse, they could come back the next day.
I just think you can't just have it solely on 4-foot trestles.
I just think for that, the solution, in my opinion, for that is you have a world champion, which is the person who is at the end of the season on top of the points, and then you have a day of champions or whatever you want to call it, and that day there's a much bigger prize and a much bigger purse, and it runs like it is now. But you have a world
Champions League.
Yeah, or what? Because I mean, golf literally just has the event. Golf has it nailed. They have the FedEx Cup where it's built on points, and then the last event has the biggest purse, and you can win that event, but it doesn't mean you win the FedEx Cup.
Okay.
And so at the end of that, they could be presenting someone as the winner of that event, but then they'll present the FedEx Cup or whatever to someone, and so you get a champion. So last year, for example, Steph would have been the Trestles champion and pockets 500k or something because it's a bigger day. But Carissa Moore would have been crowned world champ because she should have been. Like,
yeah. I try my best to not have any visual or mental interaction with golf. So I don't know anything about like I do know they earn coin, and it's a very old sport. So the only reason why I would look at that as some sort of a model is because it's been around so long. And usually the sports that have been around so long, they've said, "Oh, well, that was good. That works. That doesn't work. This works."
I think, yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of other sports that do the same thing.
I
Which
just think at the moment, like our sport seems to be limited on where it ends up. On the
yeah,
competitive side, on the free surfing side, it's on a whole other ball. But we talk about that another time. Now, what we were talking about, Jack, I'll kick off. Huh? You're happy for me to kick off because I'm senior, I'm better
yeah,
looking.
go, go, go,
Yeah,
go.
I'm not taller than you. I wanted to say that, but I'm not.
Unfortunately not, but no. But yeah, you're better looking, so you go first.
I tell you, it was a hard re-entry back here into France, Muddy. Like 9 hour time difference. So the jet lag thing, didn't sleep on the first flight, even though I whacked a sleeping pill. The English woman next to me slept 10 hours.
Hmm.
She just didn't stop sleeping.
That's
Like,
because you was trying to talk to her.
oh, maybe. Come back into France. I'd already had a cancelled train because they were on strike because the president's trying to rip them off 2 years in their retirement. And then the dump truck guys are on strike too. So everywhere, I went and stayed at my mate's place in Paris. Everywhere, there's just rubbish everywhere on the street. So,
Really?
and even by the time I've got here, like, it was pretty hard. Like 6 Australia, what a place.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, like anyone listening to this, if you've got money, you can go there on a holiday. But I'm not gonna recommend it to people unless you got spare money to burn, or you're going there to work.
Mm.
$5.50 for a croissant, Matt.
Oh wow.
That's €3.75. They're
That's not bad,
€1
man.
at my bakery here and better.
Yeah.
It's
That's
it's 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 ridiculous. Like petrol's a tiny bit cheaper, so that's all right. So there you go. Petrol's a little
yeah.
bit cheaper. Um, Food shopping's heavy. Four
Yeah.
bucks for $4 for an avocado. It's just out of control when you go out. Like if you go and they've got this crazy morning coffee culture, which is second to none. Like a lot of people said to me last year, "Oh, your coffee must be good. You're Australian." At Maroochydore, there's a coffee shop within 50 meters of where you were, no matter where you were.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everyone goes to the coffee breakfast at the coffee shop in the morning and spends $15.
I remember when I came down to
Suppose
France.
that's not too radical. That's like €10.
I remember I came down to France though, and me and
What's
Emily
that?
was like,
Eight quid.
yeah, £8. Yeah. Me and
Is
Emily
that
came down to
is that
France and
is
was
that,
like,
is that fair dinkum for a brekkie?
well, for one person, it depends. A bit heavy if it's a coffee and a croissant.
Yeah, what? Nah, coffee and a croissant at that place. Rick's on Fifth. They called it Fifth Avenue and
Yeah.
Rick. So you would have been $5 for your coffee and $5.50 for your croissant. So that's
Yeah, £8. That's
but
pretty
here,
heavy.
that would have been €7. No, €8 for $10. Yeah, you guys would have. No, it would have. Anyway, it was double.
Yeah, it's a lot. They do earn more out there, but I
They
mean,
do earn
traveling
more.
wise, it is
All
heavy.
right, if you're earning the money, you're in there. Oh,
Yeah.
the guy took me to Gold Coast, which were better croissants. They were 6 or 7.
Yeah.
My French mate that's living there now
Saw you coming.
saw me. So I've gone there nearly 6 weeks in prime swell season, and I got one kind of swell at the start where I was on every Instagram, every social media there, everywhere. Wow, I took a surf line, magic seaweed, everything. And it was like 4 or 5 days. It was gone. And then there wasn't anything over 3 foot for the next 4 weeks, basically. I mean, it's all right. It's fun. You're in board shorts. If you want to go there, ride small epoxies or mid lengths or long boards, and not have a single pain in your body because everything's so loose. It's pretty good. And if you like being, a bit sunburned, having a cold beer, it's like an incredible holiday. But you're looking at, let's say an Englishman's looking at what you're looking at, 1,500 quid to $2,000 for your ticket. Have you looked at them lately? I think that's what you're looking at.
Yeah, return. Yeah.
You're looking at accommodation. If you're lucky, you're looking at 800 quid a week.
Yeah.
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 So let's say you're going for 3 weeks, 2,500, 2,000 for your ticket.
Yeah.
And then another 2,000 for food.
Yeah.
So you're looking at £6,000, and the same in euro. You're looking at €6,000 for a 3-week trip. Now, kind of makes your trip to the Mentawais
Look cheap.
look cheap, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Where you're going to spend 1,200, €1,500 maybe to get to Mentawais, and then even if you're staying in one of the luxury joints, you're looking at $3,000 for 10, 12 days.
Yeah. Or
which isn't 3 weeks. So that's a 2-week trip that you can do for $4,000, and you're going to get way better waves.
Or if you go to Bali, the flights are about $1,000, and then your accommodation is like 20 quid a night for a luxury villa.
There you go. Yeah. So
even cheaper.
Your 3-week trip to Bali or one of those places, you're looking at max
$2,000. Yeah, exactly.
3. You got to eat. You got there, get there and back. You do it for 2.5. You do it for 2.5. But budget fella can do it for 2.
Yeah.
Budget man. Or the Canaries, you're looking at what? Canaries, you're looking at $1,500 euro or pound.
Or if we
200 for your flight, you share with people, you hire a car, you eat in Europe food, your supermarket, Spanish supermarket, cheap as chips.
Yeah, or if you transition into lovely way into my trip, south of Portugal, flights with board bags were 110 quid. Hired a car for hired a T-Roc, like a real nice Volkswagen.
How many cars did you hire?
3.
I know the T-Roc.
Yeah, so we hired a T-Roc for 4. Picked up on a Thursday, returned on a Monday for €55. And
for the whole 4 days?
Yeah. And I got one morning I went to a cafe and got a coffee, a pain au chocolat, and a pasta de nata. And she said, "Oh, it's €2.50, and I had a €5 note. So I just got it again. So I got 2 coffees because I was like, it's so.
What was
so
the other
cheap.
thing you were saying? A pasta? What? I thought you
Pasta,
meant like a. Oh yeah, I know.
Pasta de nata, the little Portuguese tarts.
Yeah. They're pretty good.
Incredible. Very good.
Like a little custard tart, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh boy, they were. Yeah, €5 for 2 of them, 2 pain au chocolats and 2 lattes, and I was like, that's just crazy cheap. So yeah, Portugal was
free accommodation.
Well, yeah. So obviously, through the wonderful people at Pure Surf Camp and Board Shop, I managed to take a team down there. There is an edit that's going to be coming out, which is going to be sick. I've literally got the first edit to watch tonight to do some cutting on, but it looks so sick. And we scored cooking waves. Sun was out, 3-2 every day.
Couldn't wipe the smile off your face.
It was so good, and it's so easy. Like I went with a few really good surfers, and Harry Timpson, who I went with, he knows the place like the back of his hand. So he was like, he would look at the wind, look at the forecast, and be like, right, here's going to be doing this, here's going to be doing this, here's going to be doing this, and you'd rock up, and it was scored Xavier really, really good. Those boys scored 10 now, and it was like barreling and pretty heavy. I went to Xavier again because it was a right hand, and I was like, yeah, I'm getting that.
Yeah.
So scored Beliche, which is like a beachy. But it was just sick. I got, like I said on the last party, I got a heavy suntan. Had an amazing time.
Was there other guests? Was there other guests at the house?
Yeah. There was other guests and the staff. Like, shout out to Eric, who was our host. He was sick. Like this is how good Pure was, right?
It's next level, this place, isn't it? Like out there on the peninsula, the national park behind it. It's pretty epic.
But what was sick, which is, and you're a Pure host for your place, but and I know you would do the same as this. But what was sick is,
I'm not as good as these people.
We were meant to get in at 12 o'clock that night to Pure. Like, our flight was landing at 11, hour drive. And I messaged Eric before we flew and said, like, he'd given me his WhatsApp number, which was sick. And I said, like, this is our flight. This is when we land. This is where we get to. And he was like, cool, easy. Then our flight got delayed 3 hours. And so I messaged him and was like, oh, I'm really sorry. Like, our flight's been delayed. He was like, no issue. We rocked up at 4 a.m. He was up, showed us to our rooms, asking if we needed anything. Like, and then, yeah, what was...
Did you send him a present? Did you just give him a T-shirt or something?
Well, we no, no. I gave him basically, we got like,
get in to post him something if you're listening in, or Roger.
Yeah, I gave him a pretty good tip when we settled up the bill.
Block of wax.
No, I just gave him, like, I just
yeah, no, that's all right. That's good.
Because I don't know if he surfed or not.
For your dinners and stuff.
Yeah, and the dinners
good food, huh?
Dinners were epic, like catered for vegans, because we had one vegetarian on our trip. Like, he was like, one day we went out surfing super early and we was out for like 4 hours, and we got back at like so we went out at 6 and we got back at like 10:30, and they'd cleared up breakfast and stuff. And I just said to him, like, I ran in and was like, have we missed breakfast? Because we was all starving. And he was like, well, yeah, but... And then he just knocked us up cheese and ham toasties with grapes and lettuce and everything. He was like, it's all good. Like, and he knocked it up for us and stuff. Super quick. So accommodating as a place. And, like, I cannot recommend that place more in terms of, whenever you wanted something, you could go to Eric or go to the host and, like, or other members of staff, and it was like sick. But it was almost like having your own place as well. Like, there was a swimming pool, there was a gym, there was, like, we had this massive sofa area that our group was in, but other people were in as well. And the WSL was on, so we was watching the WSL while having like breakfast and lunch and stuff, with loads of other people. It was just so sick. Like,
good vibe,
really good. Like, you could not have felt more comfortable no matter who you were. And there was a good mix of people there as well. Like, it wasn't all... I'm pretty certain, like, they were quite shocked at... Because we kept getting up super, like, at 6 a.m. and going surfing. And a few of the people were like, you surf all the time, you surf so much and stuff. And I don't think that everyone there was staying just as surfers. I think people were staying just because it's, like, a real... Yeah,
they go there to learn to surf, and it's more the experience.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. Then they yoga. Like, they had a woman doing yoga every morning, doing massages and stuff. Like, like, all the beautiful
part. It's a beautiful part of Europe too, isn't it?
Yeah, and also for people going there to surf, the Xavier, which is the beach closest, is literally 2-minute drive. And the drive to the beach is so nice as well, super pretty drive and stuff. Like, yeah, I was just like, it's. Like,
did you go out to the cliffs at Sagres?
So we went to...
Where you see the fishermen dudes standing on the cliff?
Not all the way, no. No, we went down to see them,
man. They're just these old diggers. They just stand on the cliff.
Yeah.
Throw the bait in.
Yeah, we went.
If they fall off, they're dead, man. I'm positive dudes have fallen off. Probably. How could you not? In a slippery big storm, they would just go.
Yeah.
See you later, Pablo.
We went to like by Belize, just round the corner. I don't know exactly where it is, but there's a lighthouse and stuff. And we went there at like a sunset, and I got absolutely destroyed by mosquitoes. Destroyed by mosquitoes. But that was cool. And yeah, it was just sick. It was so sick. Like we on the Saturday at Belize, the water was kind of busy. There was like maybe like 25 people in on the peak. Um, but it was like no issue, no ag really. I tell you what, the coolest experience was on the Sunday. There was a massive swell forecast, like a massive south swell. So first thing, me and so I went with a group of people, and there was two girls that came, and me and these two girls were like, we're not going to go and chase where it's massive. It's silly. So
Were they part of your group?
yeah. We took them. Yep. Sophie and Rosie, their names are. Their quality as well. And Xavier was 4 to 6 foot on this forecast, and we rocked up. And on the right where you surface Xavier, there was 4 people in the water. We couldn't see who it was. There was 4 people out. We was like sick. It's like very good size, like perfect kind of size for me. Like it was that challenging size where you get that little bit of buzz, but it wasn't like I'm gonna die. Paddled out, and so I was in the lineup. There was me and 6 other people, and all the other people were girls, were women. And as soon as we got out there, greeted with smiling faces, people asking like, "Oh, what a beautiful, like, how are you? What a beautiful morning!" Like, and then like within 10 minutes, like calling each other into waves. It was the most sick lineup I've ever been in. I got out thinking like everyone needs to learn from that. And I don't know if it was a gender thing or whether it was just the people or what, but I don't know if I'll ever have it again where I'm in the lineup with just 6 other people and they're all females. But it was super cool. And it was pumping.
I'd love to have that myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to pray for that for my next 20 surfs.
It was cool. And I caught a wave, and then on the inside I got detonated on. I got fully flogged. Got back out, and I was like, oh, I'm going to give myself a minute or two here. And I sat a little bit wide just to let everyone else go and stuff. And this wide set came, and like the 2 girls I was with and a couple of others looked at me and was just like, go. And I was still kind of like, oh no, I don't want it. I need to regain my composure and stuff. But they were like, go. And I was like, I can't not go. And I
have to.
I paddled my little socks off, and I took off as it hollowed out. And all of the people we was with, like in the lineup and the 2 girls I was with, just saw me take off perfectly slotted in this barrel. What they didn't see, which was like after like the second pump, I like slightly bogged, span out, and got a lip to the head, and then just paddled back out. And but as I got back out, everyone was like, "That's the sickest one. We saw you like right in the slot and stuff." And I was just like, "Yeah." But no, sick trip. It was sick for Board Shop to do that with UK surfers. It was sick. It was so sick for Pure to hook us up, and FCS and XL and Futures and Ocean and Earth. They all kind of contributed, and yeah, there'll be a little edit coming out on that soon. But I wanted to know, you managed to find a couple of different boards under your feet.
I'm telling you though, like you were talking about beautiful spots. I surfed Noosa for the first time in, I think, 25 years. I've never surfed it on any of my trips back since I left Australia.
Yeah,
and it's hands down the most beautiful spot you can't imagine a more beautiful spot. And like I got Tea Tree Bay one day, like 3-4 foot. It's you couldn't even draw or describe a better wave. Unfortunately, you've got a crowd there and you've got to be careful and everything. Like that day I surfed twice, I think. I had my wife and Marlo on the beach, and I maybe got 6 waves, which is frustrating because you see like 10 out of 10, like 2 pumps, and then you're into this wave that like it's better than Kelly's wave pool.
Yeah.
a little bit bigger and it's natural environment. It's just off the hook, like as good as it gets. And I was
Yeah.
just like, I wanted to move back there just for that.
Did you encounter any like because obviously you're Australian, but you haven't obviously been back for a long time. Did you get any ag from people or anything like that, or because
Oh,
you?
one dude splashed me at a tea tree, but that was the next week when I went back there and was with. We took one of my mate's kids who wagged school for the day. His mum's French too, and he's friends with my son. And I kind of just got on a bit of a roll, and I probably caught a couple too many waves, but I wasn't too worried. And someone splashed me while I was going along the wave, and then I just kind of took that one to the beach, and then played soccer with the kids for
Yeah.
about half an hour, and then did some other stuff, and then just went back out. And I was saying it to my mate from Maroochydore, and he was just like, he's like, don't you worry, you just go and do whatever you want. He's like you haven't been back here, and like, there's a lot of people in the lineup. There's a lot of people that, like, this is one of the world's premium surf spots, and I'm not calling any out for any sort of localism or anything, but this is one of the world's premium spots. And if you want to sit out on the top of the peak, which was happening a lot of times, and a wave will come and it's on the rocks, take off and everything. If you don't go, you just can't sit out there. That's the
No.
thing. You can't let these waves or waste these waves for other people because there's not that many of them. And if you're not up to it yet, you got to build into your spots. Like guys, like we've said in previous podcasts, you don't go to Pipeline. You don't go to Hawaii and go to Pipeline unless you're like, one, completely up for the task, two, completely proficient, and three, ready to sit and get the scraps because you're going to have to. And now you could say for me, I couldn't sit on the top, but like, that's my home state. And I surfed Noosa a lot when I was a kid and when I was really young as well, even in nippers on nipper boards. But, there was no real problem. Maroochydore, bumper to bumper on a couple of the good days. And everyone, I didn't see any drop-ins really at all.
Wow.
Or if there were, no aggro.
No
Because
aggro.
someone would just turn around and say sorry, and people
Yeah.
just wait their turn. You get less waves, but people wait their turn. And also, I saw snapper, which
I
is a
did.
heritage. Yeah, it's a heritage wave for me. My dad surfed snapper in Greenmount when he was like 20. Him and my mum lived not far from there in a caravan. He was a carpenter on the Gold Coast. Like, it was one of the regrets of my youth was that they didn't stay there and they moved to Brizzy. But I might have got made on a different night, and it mightn't have been me that took advantage of this life. It might be one of my millions of half brothers that were in his pool of semen. So snapper was sick, man. I went on a Saturday. I still can't remember if it was a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, and I went down there with Mrs. just on like without Marlo, my son, because he wanted to hang with the cuzzies, and it was 3 foot. And this was the board I surfed nearly the whole time I was there. This 7.0 pin twin pin epoxy with black carbon rails.
The Weir one. Is it Weir?
Yep, Damon Weir, like one of Maruchidore's best ever surfers, and his dad owned the surf shop there, and now he's a school principal. He just shaped. Yeah, he's a backyard shaper, and
how cool is that?
Yeah, and this board goes epic. It's like, I think at one stage I got a sore shoulder, I think, from duck diving it because it is quite thick and it's epoxy and everything.
Yeah,
but it's so light that it's epoxy, even though it's a 7.0, you can still throw it around. At Snapper and at Noosa, I surfed it like really good. Like, just, it's the best twin I've ever surfed.
Wow. And yeah, because you're not a twin fin fan.
And this one went good, I think, because it's longer. I like that setup, and wow, it was just unreal. And my other mate who gave me like the keys to his garage and also lent me his car, like we're old friends. And what was that other board I wanted to say that the Hayden.
Yeah, when I saw you surfing a Hypto, I was killing
I
myself.
didn't like it. I didn't like it. It felt a bit stiff. It was a bit weird. 6.0 carbon wrap and everything. And then I'm like, I'm gonna go. And then I started doing a couple of turns, and I said to my mate Mick, I said, I'm gonna go in. And I got one, and it was a little bit sucky, and I was a bit late for a floater, and I must have board flipped over underneath me in midair. It's one of those scary moments, when
Yeah,
you're gonna fall down on the fin. So I honestly must have fallen at perpendicular onto the fins, snapped two of them out with these Pancho Sullivan fins, disappeared. And then I didn't know. And I paddled back out and went for another wave. And
shit.
it squirreled. And I was like, what was that? And I turned it over. And my mate was pissing himself on the beach. And I was going like, and he goes, full carbon wrap. And I was going, no, it isn't. It's just a black spray, isn't it? And he's like, yeah. But the guy who lent it to me reckons actually that it's an insane board for good 4 to 6 foot G land and waves like that. And
Yeah.
he
Well,
knows
Jack's got
really knows what he's talking about.
Silent Jack's got one, and he said he absolutely loves it. He swears by it. He says it's one of the best paddlers he's had for a good wave board, and it can handle juice. He's got one. He loves it. But you're lucky you didn't waterlog it, because they suck up water like a hell, man.
Well, I brought it straight in. I'm also
Yeah.
lucky I didn't end up with two fins in the back in my
Well,
back.
yeah. I funnily enough, actually, it sounds like you got on with a twinny, and I'm usually a twin fin guy. And the trip in Portugal made me it really opened my eyes that actually I don't have a normal board in my quiver, because the most normal board I took was this 6-1 Morris Cole. It's called the VCon 3. And I think you can surf it as a thruster, but I surfed it as a twin plus trailer. And it's sick
Damon, who's ex competition surfer, he full Spono Grom.
Yeah.
I don't know how old Damon is. He must be 40.
Odd.
45 or something. Full ripper, though. He said to me he never surfed shortboards anymore. He's like, this day I surfed with him and his dad, Dorney, in front of the surf club, Maroochydore, little 2-foot triangle peaks coming out, just the three of us out there. He did a vertical Rio on his 8-foot twin pin epoxy.
Jeez. Yeah.
And he's do you think people surf with not enough volume, Brody? And I was like, it's not that I think.
Yeah.
Of course they do. Like anyone that you see on a shortboard who isn't under 20, they don't have a really proficient technique. It's going to be a struggle.
Yeah, you're right though about the volume and stuff. And I don't think it's about that, but in England, it's like I think there's a middle ground to it as well, because the Portuguese waves and good waves, I have it when I come to France. They move so fast. And I just found the board a little flat that I was surfing. Super, super, super good board. But for like a faster moving wave.
You want curve. That's why we've all got lots of boards. I surfed also a 6.5 step driver.
Oh, the Lost board.
Yeah, and it felt really good. And I surfed it on a few bigger days, and it felt really good, really good.
But I do think
then I also surfed a 511 epoxy MR.
Oh wow,
twinny. So it must have been, I don't know if it was a super twin or a twinny with twin and a trailer. And I surfed this one day where I wish I had surfed it the day before. I was on the 7.0 the day before and I had fun, but it was, it was too long. It was like 2 foot, but fun little rights.
Yeah.
This was midweek Maroochydore by myself, driving up from Brisbane in my mum's retirement village in her car,
Yeah.
getting up there at 7:30 or 8 o'clock, going to my mate's place, going into his garage, picking a board, going down to the beach, and basically Australia as well, from 5:30 to 8 is packed, and
Mm.
then everyone goes to school or work. And
Yeah.
then after that, you're sweet.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's when
good.
I went.
We I think
Love you, Australia.
yeah. I think that's I think like back to the normal board thing, I think that's similar to like I think what your friend's saying about volume is right. I don't really like talking about volume, but like that ghost that I used in France that you've now got technically is too big for me if you look at volume. But actually the shape and the style of the board mean I can surf good waves in it, and the volume means I can paddle better. So
And the
um
volume of the Ghost is really weird because I've got a Bradley Chocolatine 6, which is 2 liters less, and it paddles better.
yeah.
It's
But it's
just kind
because
of
of the
pointy.
profile.
You feel like it paddles good. Here's a good one. The Ghost paddles good. You're on top of the water because you've got your volume. It's quite a thick volume board for its size and everything,
Mm.
but it doesn't paddle fast. Do you understand the difference?
It doesn't accelerate.
You're on top of the water, so you're good. You're not feeling like you're sinking. You're moving along, but it doesn't paddle fast because it's too
No,
narrow through the front. Now, I argued with Bradley for years about this, and he's whatever he thinks, his chocolatine there works good, but he's wrong when he says, "Oh no, you shouldn't go wide and stuff like that." Because I come from lifesaving from when I was 11 with paddling, and you need doesn't have to be like a longboard up front, but you need a larger area and planning because that's what pushing on the water when you're paddling is giving you the speed.
there's a
It's
Fipsy that I've
also
got.
what's going to slow you down when you come down the face.
There's a Fipsy that I've got that's really thinned out but quite wide for what it is. So the rails are really like low profile, and the board's pretty thin, but it's wider, and it
What's
paddles.
that?
So they're not quite right.
I'd love to surf that one.
Yeah,
How long is that one?
6'8".
Hmm. Good.
Channel bottom twin. It's
It,
beauty. Yeah.
when are you coming down to France?
Oh, soft sour spot. I was meant to be coming down the first week of April, and we've cancelled it just because of some personal, well, our house sales basically going through, and we can't really be out of the country at that week. So we're gonna get that out of the way and then fly down, like come down. But yeah, we'll
It's
be down.
getting cold anyway, April. So, just push it back. The water will get warmer.
That's it. Yeah. Worst case, I'm definitely down in September, but I'll be down before then as well.
So where's your next surf trip? I'm not having one, obviously, now till
Far out. Probably
till
France.
next November. I'm just on my home surf trip now.
Probably France. Yeah. Well, I got a couple. I want to do weirdly. I want to do Wales. A couple of the boys that were on this trip are from Wales, and they're telling me all about the like Callum and Pat and Logan have been
I
telling me.
wouldn't call that weird. That's in your own continent. You can drive there, and I reckon it'd probably be pretty epic, wouldn't it?
Never surfed it. Never surfed over there. So
Nice people.
yeah, the boys Logan, Pat, and Callum are just all time some of like the funniest group of people I've met. Surf for ages, and they're absolute legends. And like Callum, for example, he's a carpenter. Like he's out 9 to 5, but he lives for surfing. He fully sends it. Like, and on the trip, he was first in, last out. No matter how big it was, no matter how crowded it was, he's proper like great guy. So I want to do Wales. I will be down in France. We want to pitch to you that we'll do a trip to your place and do some content at the end of the season. But I'm yet to ask you about that.
Who's we?
Well, me, the filmer, Jake, and then Logan, Harry, Pat, and Callum are the surfers.
That's a lot of people.
It's so
Let's
sick.
see. let's see, late October,
Out of
potentially,
season.
yes.
Yeah, out of season, like the week after you close or whatever.
Yeah, like even if you guys are available the first week in November, it's doable.
That's when I'm thinking. Yeah. Because the water's still not cold then.
No, it's still good. It's
And the
still good.
weather's still all right. So that's later on in this year. But yeah. What about because a lot of this surfing, I got something to ask you actually before we go and do's or don'ts. There's something that's come up that I've made.
Australia, love you, Australia.
Yeah. What do you feel? How do you feel about people who put stickers on their boards that aren't sponoed?
Yeah, that's a no.
That's the best answer. I feel the same. It's
It's
like
just ridiculous. Like, why would you bother?
I feel
Come on.
like it's
We used
it's
to do it when we were younger for selling a board
yeah, yeah. That's a good tip actually.
because
I
pilots would buy it. We call a word for a pilot back in the day. Flashback here was for kook was pilot, and that came from Oakley Factory Pilot.
right.
Which was
Okay,
their
yeah,
ad.
yeah,
That was their
yeah,
ad. And basically we just thought people that wore that Oakley, they were pilots, they were kooks, because it's
yeah.
a bit of a try hard thing.
Because that's what. Because I saw it or I see it sometimes, and I kind of liken it to if you put like
And if
Formula
you're
One stickers
buying a
on your
board
car.
with those stickers on, you should be taking them off.
Yeah. If I'm ever buying a second-hand board, if I see a second-hand board and it's got stickers somewhere, instantly I go, oh, there's a ding under that. Because that's the only reason I'd put a sticker on the board is if there was a ding under it, like, and you're selling it, like you said.
Okay, so we'll fly into like, we can hook into a bit more traveling over the next and flashbacks. We can
Yeah,
do a few flashbacks on our trips over the next 6 months because we just got to live off our own because we're both environmentally aware and we want our listeners to know that you shouldn't travel too much even though you should travel. Yeah, it's an oxymoron. It's a
just
tough one.
do it responsibly.
Yeah. So I did the classic today. So this is a don't. I did the classic and like it was 4 foot and offshore. It was kind of cooking and I looked everywhere and couldn't find like massive coefficient, massive low, looked everywhere. Had Fipsy on the phone, he was looking, he was calling me, I was calling him back, and then I went and I checked a few spots. And eventually I couldn't find it, and he's like, I'm going to work. And I said, I'm going to go to work too. Bugger it. And then just as I said I was going to go to work, I was like, oh, they're getting a couple up there on that peak. Maybe I'll just go out there. And as I said it to myself, I said, hey, did you put your wetsuit in the car? No, didn't put my wetty in the car. So,
Uh,
so I went and worked at the cafe anyway, because that can happen a lot.
yeah, so you didn't put your wetty in the car?
No. So I wasn't too happy with what boards I had, and then I went home after I did some work and everything. And I went home and got the wetty. Did I do that? I got the wetty, and then I went back to work, and I saw Jay drive past on his bike, and I was like, "How was it?" And he was like, "Oh, it was that pumping." He's 15. It's always pumping for everything. I was pumping, and I said, "What's it like now?" And he goes, "Oh, the wind just swung." I said, yeah, no worries. So I just kept working. And then I ended up really scoring in the afternoon anyway. Way better waves, but onshore, because onshore's the new offshore.
Onshore is the new off.
Remember, it's like not the first time, and I know it's happened to every surfer in the world. You gotta remember the put the wetty in the car. It's a real it's one of those ones where you generally won't forget, but when you're in a rhythm of surfing every day, or if you've been surfing every day and you've got your wetties and you've got to, it's a mission, don't you, mate? You got to get them, you got to get them
Yeah.
back, you got to rinse them, you got to hang them out, you got to dry them, and you're doing the switch overs and you're saying, okay, I'll surf that one tomorrow, that wetty. It's nearly like your surfboards. It's so easy to, and not 9 times out of 10, But 7 times out of 10, I'll stop down the road, stop
Yeah,
the car, get out and double check. Because even though you've put it in, you think, what if I didn't?
I'd done this the other day when we got back. I got back from Portugal and it was pumping here. I said it on the last poddy at work. I was excited. It was like, yeah, it's on. In the car, wetsuit. I put my wetsuit on at work because not there's no point getting changed in the cold. Go screaming down the road, out of the industrial estate, hit the top, look to my left, and I've only got my gloves and I didn't have my hood. And there's no way you can surf without a hood at the moment. I just spun it like straight away, like straight back, ran into the office, fully wetsuited up, grabbed my hood, and then went. And like obviously, like lucky. I mean, it's only a 2 minute drive to the beach for me from work, but yeah, I've done the same. You get excited and then you're like, oh, I haven't got it.
So easy. So do check for your weddy.
Yeah.
No, don't forget your
Don't
weddy.
forget your
And
Eddie.
also be tough because, like, my mate took his booties off yesterday and I took them off today. No worries. And I was stoked. We're lucky. It's only 22nd of March, booties off. I mean, early in the morning, I probably would wear them, but it was kind of warm and
I'm back into a 4-3 now. 4-3 hooded.
and I had my thanks again, Need Essentials. My first surf back was in my 5-3 Need Essentials, and I was like, "What's wrong with my shoulders?" I thought I was feeling fit.
Huh.
It was like 6 weeks,
Yeah.
6 weeks feeling nude, and then all of a sudden, constriction.
Yeah.
It's a completely different movement.
100%. I surfed that day. I surfed and it was in my Excel wetsuit, and I was hot. I was too hot. I was so hot, and I was like, right, 4-3's coming out. And then I surfed Saturday night as the sun was going down in a 4-3 and was just still toasty. Like after like an hour and a half, it started to get a little chill when the sun had gone down, but that's fair. So it's 4-3 season now for me.
Well, I think I'm surfing. I'm definitely surfing in a 4-3 in the morning, and
Yeah.
but I don't. Lenore's on in the morning, 6 to 8 foot. I don't. I'll have to surf with booties because you can sit out there and wait a while. So on that beautiful, lucky, let's live this last part of winter before the crowds hit. I'm going to bid you a farewell because my son needs something to drink.
Yeah, boy. Thanks so much. Au revoir.
Au revoir.